Welcome to part 2, episode 183 of Sawdust Nation Podcast, our holiday experience here with our hosts. We got Tim from Gears and Fire, Ed from Oak Ridge Woodworks, and Ben holding the Santa Claus from Beach Time Woodworks. We got him giggling already. Look at that. So if you didn't catch part 1, please, I encourage you to go catch part 1. It's a great episode. We get a little insight into Ben and Ed's shop, what they've been up to, their plans for the future. And I tell you what, they're great plans and great stuff coming up for them. But we're going to kick it off with asking Tim what's up in his shop and what does he have planned for the holidays?
Well, I've actually been pretty darn busy since the last time I was on here. But I think the one thing I can start off with is what you kind of see over here on my shoulder. I don't know if you guys had seen the posts on Instagram over the course of November. Like there was a logo swap competition hosted by the Maker Collab.
Mm-hmm.
So me and Mustache Matt entered, and unfortunately we didn't win, but we got runner up, which I'm pretty pleased about. He made like a really cool version of my logo, and then of course I made this clock. Now the clock itself is kind of interesting because I had to join a bunch of walnut boards together. I had to carve out all the numbers, do a lot of epoxy inlays, make some more pockets for the motors, for the LEDs, for all that stuff. I don't want to pat myself on the back too bad, but I designed, prototyped, and made that thing all within the course of a month, outside of my 9 to 5, outside of my family time. So I'm pretty darn happy about that.
That's pretty cool, man, from what we could see.
Yeah, I apologize. It's kind of dark, but like I said, I managed to get his mustache in there. You can't see it because it is dark. I apologize, but the mustache, rocks back and forth. In the previous episode, Ben, you had mentioned that you were kind of engraving and spray painting some acrylic. I had to do that too with his logo right there. So that's what I'm thinking. Oh, I just did that. Ben knows what I'm talking about. I know what Ben's talking about. It was pretty cool. And honestly, the only reason I did that was because my first attempt at doing what I wanted to do, it just started falling apart. I mean, I was using a 12-degree V-bit to try and cut the space in between the letters. I was going to pour epoxy. It was going to look awesome. No, it just started falling apart. So I had to pivot, and I basically just pocketed the whole thing out. And then I've got a ton of plastic laying around, so I just made his logo, put it in the plastic, spray painted it, sanded it down, so I got a nice frosty finish, so that when I shine the light behind it, it's all nice and diffused. It looks pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I mean, this, as far as the first time ever making a clock, the first time ever using electromechanical components. Like I said, it's a motor that spins a dial that moves the link, back and forth to make the mustache back and forth. I mean, that's just how my brain works. But to shove all that stuff inside of an 18-inch circle, it came out pretty cool, I think. But I mean, that also got my gears working too. Like, how can I improve upon this? How can I do different machinations for different clocks and that type of things too? In other words, go beyond my normal style of doing cutting boards, right? Like if I can get into something that's a little bit more functional, it's got a little razzle dazzle, you know what I mean? That's really where my passion is. I mean, woodworking is nice and all, but I want to make stuff, extra useful. I want to make it, pop. I want to make it smart. Plugging it in and adding batteries, that's really in my wheelhouse too, as far as passions are concerned. I used to do a lot of that for one of my previous employers back in the day. I was a prototype developer. I got to invent a lot of stuff. So that meant making the physical pieces and parts, that type of thing. But again, also making it smart, adding Arduino and electronics and that type of thing to it. So this is the first time I've ever got to do something like this for Gears and Fire in my own workshop. So that was pretty darn cool.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, like I said, runner up. It's not too shabby, right?
Looks great.
But then after that, we had to do for the Christmas. I had to make a cutting board for not a cutting board. I'm sorry, a cribbage board for my sister-in-law. So like I just found like a nice chunk of maple. I put the Milwaukee Bucks logo in there, and I poured the epoxy at different times, and I made extra tool paths, poured a second coat of whatever. Like lots of different phases along that, but within the course of a week, I managed to spit out a pretty nice looking cribbage board that in the back, it has functionality. There's a steel plate with 4 magnets that once you take it off, it holds a deck of cards, it holds the pins.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I spray painted the metal, and I put some clear coat on it, so it'll last a long time too. But and then it threw some feet on the bottom, and the whole thing just popped. It just came together. So like I think I want to go down that road too. Like make functional stuff beyond just a board. Like I can make a neat looking cutting board, or I can cut a path, pour some epoxy into a charcuterie board. But what can I do beyond that? Like, so I really want to push the limits of what I can do in this shop. Mm-hmm. And I kind of think what that means is like, what can I do on my own budget? Because I've always done those types of things on the company budget. But when you're really digging in your own pocketbook, it means something different, So, let's see, what else? Oh, now, like I said, I'm working on some charcuterie boards. Like my wife had mentioned, she's got a couple people that they just want basic boards. So I have a lot of these live edge slabs. Like imagine take like a 20-inch round piece of firewood, but instead of splitting it into firewood, I just took the chainsaw and I cut me some slabs. So I have these slabs like that. I'm just going to, flatten, throw some feet on, finish.
They're cookies? Is that what you kind of talking about?
Nope, not cookies. It's basically just going to be like a square charcuterie board, I guess. Okay. But because they have the live edge, they're going to kind of have like
that dip,
the natural chamfer, right? Like I don't have to put on the chamfer. I just scrape off the bark, sander it a little, and boom, there's a chamfer. Mm-hmm. Throw some feet on that guy for 1 or 2, maybe. I don't know. Like it's the question, I should say, the challenge I'm applying to myself is how quickly can I spit out 5 of these things? Because so back in 2019, I made about 100 of these boards. Like I took the chainsaw and I hacked up a bunch of different firewood logs into like these slabs. And like I said, they've been drying out over the course of a few years. So like now they're ready to actually do stuff with, but like I said, the challenge to myself is, can I get 5 of these done and ready before Christmas? And so far, so good. But in addition to that, I have a couple other smaller projects I don't want to say just yet, but they require that I have a better table saw sled. So like I've got a lot of this really good 11-ply Baltic birch plywood that I got from the dumpster at work because I'm a dumpster diver. Like really good sheets. It blows me away what is thrown away sometimes. It is expensive for them. For me, it was a free 90 free. It's fantastic. So I loaded up the truck and.
What's your work address?
Yeah,
it's
you're not that far away, right?
Yeah. It's just down the street a spell.
Just down the turnpike, right?
Yeah. So I'm the table saw sled that I have right now. It's I only have like an 1/8 inch thick baseboard that it rides on, and I thought that was going to be okay because I wanted to do some like thicker slabs inside of this table saw sled, so I didn't want to make the sled itself, the base part, too thick. But I found out I wasn't really hitting the overall blade limit. Okay. So I could afford to give myself a little thicker base for the sled. But like I said, now this time it's going to be wider, it's going to be deeper, all that dirty sounding stuff, but it's going to be stable. I thought about putting in a couple of T-tracks and stuff like that too, but first I need to get this done sooner than later. So I might come back and add it after the fact. Like, just because I think it'd be really nice to like throw in some clamps just to hold stuff in place, maybe like a gauge here and there, but I'd rather make an additional sled down the road and get this guy cooking. Yeah, it has been absolutely busy for the past month and a half, and it's been great. I've really been enjoying it. But coming up after the charcuterie stuff, my daughter, and actually all three of my kids, excuse me, are going to be in the school play coming up. And my oldest daughter got like the lead role in this thing. So there's going to be some like costume and prop type stuff making. So I have to make a sword for one daughter, and I got to make like a Pied Piper flute for my son. And I think that's kind of cool, because like that's something I've always wanted to kind of try my hand at. It's actually like making props and stuff too.
That is
like this
cool.
is on the simple end, but like I said, at some point, like I mean, to 3D print, thermal form, like all the pieces, add the electronics, like make real props. But I mean, if I gotta start the process by making a wooden sword, then so be it. You gotta start somewhere, right?
That's awesome.
But yeah, so like in addition, I mean, if there's ever like kind of downtime where I'm down in the shop just looking at the computer, I'm still kind of working on my garage layout, because like where I'm at right now is I'm in the basement, just because it's temperature controlled, so that's where I have the CNC. I have a bandsaw down here, and most of my tools, but like in the garage, that's where my table saw lives. That's where my miter saw lives. But ultimately, that is going to be the final destination for all this stuff. So I've been really planning out like the whole garage layout. Now, like when Ed was talking about like, I mean, how much space do I have over here? How much space do I have over here? Like I have that in CAD. Like I'm a guy that likes to plan before I do anything. Before I lay one single wire, like I will have it all planned out, ready to go.
Yeah, you gotta do that. Yeah, because I don't know how many iterations I went through in my plan. I mean, I kid you not, probably 8 or 9 different versions before I kind of stumbled on, okay, this layout makes sense. It's got a good flow. Yeah, you got to lay it out. We're visual people.
Exactly. And like as far as like, can I move around in my shop? Like, so I use SolidWorks for like my CAD programming and stuff like that. So like when I lay out my garage, like I put in 36-inch circles. That kind of represents like human space doing this. I put those circles everywhere. Like, I mean, how much am I going to have to scooch around someone else to like get over on this side of the thing? But like I said, I've also laid out exactly where my 5x10 CNC is going to go some days. I taped it off, man.
There you go.
Nothing goes inside that tape. But I mean, like, the shop computer is going to be out there at some point. I mean, I'm still going to have like the home office computer, I think, right in this spot. But like I said, there's going to be a shop computer out there. It'll all be temperature control. We're going to run decent wiring out there. We're going to have our house upgraded to 200 amp service. So there is just a lot going on, and we really want to do a kitchen remodel. And like, I want to make all of the cabinets myself, but cabinets take up a lot of space. So like, I got to have a spot to like build it and stage it. Right now, that's not an option. So like, it's a lot of like future planning. That's really what's going on in my shop, is like little projects to kind of keep me busy, but also a lot of future planning between like laying out what the new kitchen will be like to laying out what the new shop is going to look like too. But as far as like designing future projects, like I said, I want to get more involved with like coming up with a different design of clock, like how can I make a cribbage board smarter? How can I make better products in such a way that it's not just good looking, but it's also functional? That's a lot to download on my end. But like I said, it keeps me busy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way. Man, you're just right on top of it when it comes to what I'm about to say. Like, when I talk about shop, just do it for me, man. And you pretty much know what I'm going to say. But it's good that you're trying to better that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people will find a niche and they'll just not do better. They'll just continue that because they can make it fast, they can make it cheap and whatnot. They don't need always try to do better because it's only going to make your product better, which means your more clients, which your brand's going to get out there more. And like, obviously, this already, and everyone else out there listening.
And that's honestly where I was at. It's like, I mean, I'm tired of making wood pretty just to put food on it or something. Like I'm tired of making signs. Like I know I can do that, so it's not really a challenge anymore.
Yeah.
Like for a maker camp, I made that Goonie board. I used 6 different species.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so I that was like the most complicated board I have ever done because it's 6 different species and you have to do the cut set in the right order and make sure all the glue ups go in the right order. And there it is. I figured it out. Okay, what's next? You know what I mean? Like I need something else.
Sounds like you're on your way to 3D carving.
It's funny you mentioned that, Ben. It's something that I do want to get into, but not just because I know I can get a machine that can do the 3D carving, but because I can make the 3D models in SolidWorks. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I know that I can scan something, I can flop it down, cut it, and then have the machine run what I just scanned. You know what I mean? Because that's something else that we did at Maker Camp too. Is we got all these people that got scanned, right?
Yep.
So let's carve that guy. Lay me down, hack me in half, carve me out.
Is that like the new liposuction where you can just take off?
Pretty much. Take 20 pounds off me, would you?
Yeah.
The human slicer.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, like getting into like the more digital side of things. I think that's where my trajectory is kind of going, because like I said, I do want to get the X1 from Bamboo. I do want to get a laser at some point. I do want to get a bigger and better CNC. No offense to you, Betty, but like I would love to have a larger CNC with a dedicated spindle. You know what I mean? Like I said, I want to upgrade. But like I said, all that takes, a constant flow of projects. So like if I have to make more cutting boards and charcuterie boards to finance that, so be it. Like you got to go where the work is. Remember that, Ed. You got to go where the work is. So, and Ed keeps saying like, he's retiring, he's going into this, and like I have all these hesitations. It's like, I gotta have the customer base for this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you do it, so I got a ton of questions for you.
It's the field of dreams. Build it, and they will come.
If you build it, they will come. Yeah, it's
like,
I mean,
wait a minute. Build it, and they will buy. I'm sorry. Build it, and they will buy.
Yeah, and that's something else that I have to come to terms with too. Is like I have to not wait for commissions. I actually have to build up an inventory of stuff and then sell it. That's a very hard pill for me to swallow. But yeah. What about you, Josh? What's going on?
Well, first of all, you have a lot going on. You're doing the right moves. You're heading down the right lane, even though it might not be all the stuff you want to do. But like how you push yourself to do more technical stuff is truly amazing. Like, I don't know, like you have so many goals. It's nice to see and nice to hear that, you're going to be knocking out these new innovations throughout this next year. And I can't wait to see it where that takes you to. Oh, there she is.
She's back.
Yeah.
Come here.
They got the pup, the shop dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the shop dog. She was wanting to play.
I got you. So my shop, a lot going on actually. It's starting to increase as far as production and stuff like that. I was actually talking to my dad today, and I kind of kind of came to me. I was so comfortable in Jersey in my shop. And I think it's because it was my first shop and I knew the layout and I knew everything was. Even if it was in some obscure place in the shop, I knew where it was. And here it's one of those things where I'm still getting used to it. And I don't have that comfortability when I walk in and just know where everything is instantly. It's more like, okay, now where did I put it here? And I'll have to go and check that out. And I think that was the hesitation for me in the beginning was I wanted to go out there, but I still haven't made it mine. I haven't put my mark in there yet. I did so many projects in Jersey. I didn't do that here yet. So I kind of overcame that a little bit this last couple of weeks after I almost died from that cold I had. But I got in there and knocked out some projects. I was able to knock out everything. I did have an overdue project I mailed out today. Went to FedEx and they did everything up for me and sent it out. And I have to contact that client and apologize, but they were aware it was going to be overdue just based on everything that occurred during that time. But in the meantime, I've got some other orders into the new year. I have 3 big projects, a challenge coin rack, medium flag. That's going to be going to Jersey. And I got that order today. I have a sign for a new couple that's getting married. That's an inner office job. And they commissioned me for, so I get to go ahead and do that for their son and future daughter-in-law. I also have a small entryway. I don't know how it's a small entryway piece, I guess you can say, where you can hang your work attire, your jacket and stuff like that. And then some of the other stuff, like some of our patches and things, that way when they wash their uniform or jacket, they can place it up there. Excuse me. And that's going to have their family name. And since both members are in the service, they'll have their each side with the family name kind of connecting them. I need to get that knocked out fairly soon. But it should be a relatively simple job. There should be details and stuff in there that kind of unique. But that's also in the office job. And then I got 2 shadow boxes. I have a shadow box that I've been putting off for a little while because I wanted to have time to do it and not rush. And then I have a new shadow box that's being commissioned from an old friend of mine, Smashing Knives. I met him in Jersey through a mutual friend. And we worked together on some projects and back and forth like that. And then he moved and then I moved. And he reached out, I don't know, just as I was in the middle of my move. And he wanted to commission a shadow box. At the time, I thought it was a trunk. I think that shifted at some point. But now it's a shadow box. And he wants the finest of the fine material you can get. So we talked over pricing. And he's like, I don't really want to give you a budget. I'm like, look, man. If you don't give me a budget, it's going to be ebony. It's going to be like the finest of the fine, like you say. Like, give me a budget.
I'm going to use that walnut that I usually charge $40 a board foot for.
Yeah, exactly. So give me a budget, and I can't wait to actually work with this because I get to work with fine material. I got the go ahead. So it is for someone I know, and it's their retirement, and it's an honor when someone that's a maker reaches out and go, hey, can you make this for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, they know other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm really looking forward to doing that for them. So that's kind of what's on the line for me right now. I got nothing due right away, which is actually refreshing. Because, I'm used to operating in Jersey. Again, I bring this up because it's like, hey, can I get a plaque next week? Hey, can I get this next week? Or can I get this in 2 days? But with the shipping times and the holidays and everything in between, I have to really give myself some more wiggle room than I have in the past, especially with the Jersey stuff. I've had to turn down last minute projects. I had a shadow box they wanted tomorrow or in 2 days from now. And I'm like, look, I can't do that. Like, I know you were trying to give me 2 weeks, but with shipping times and you want it on the 21st, I can't guarantee that. not during the holidays. Everything takes longer. Your 2-day shipping is now 4-day, and your 3 days is 2 weeks. So it's one of those.
Don't never be afraid to say no when you know that you can't keep your promises, or put yourself in a position that it is going to end up in a bad result or a bad review or something of that nature. Don't be afraid to say, I'm sorry, I can't meet your expectations this time.
I was really bad about that in Jersey. I did it a few times, but I usually would take pretty much everything. So this is a new learning curve for me because a lot of my clientele is still in Jersey, and I have to work with that. And I have to understand that I don't have as much shop time as I did when I was in Jersey. I knew my job. There wasn't a learning curve there. I got to go in, I did the job and come home. Now there's a lot of different things I need to, work on and dedicate more time to because, well, it's a new job. There's a lot to it. If you're going to talk OSHA and safety, and I learned some of the fire standards and codes, it's kind of a little bit of everything. And then the Air Force side of it, there's a host of things I need to know. And, family too, we're done settling in, but we're still learning the area. We're still getting the kids set up. They're starting to get into sports. So this all cuts in, and I'm trying to make it so during the weekend, I have 1 day for shop time, 1 day for family time, because I was really bad about balance when I was in Jersey, and I don't want that to follow me here. I want to have the same kind of revenue and same kind of projects, but I also want that family time built in to be like, no, I'm not going to the shop today. So
you don't want to forget about old what's her name, right?
Yeah. So what it comes down to is lessons have been learned from my previous experience in previous state, and even from you guys, I've learned lessons from, and what you've talked to. Trying to innovate, trying to go the extra mile. That's a big thing because I know how to do stuff, but I'm not happy with the way I'm doing it because I know I can do better. I just got to figure out that process. I haven't been happy with my last couple of projects to the point of I don't think I'm posting the last couple of projects because I know there's things I want to explore, and I'm slowly doing that to make these projects better. And until I get that down, it's just kind of one of those things where I'm going to keep pushing those boundaries. I tried a new process with this last project. I didn't think it was going to work. I thought it was going to be a waste of time. And I can't believe it still worked. So I have to continue doing that to perfect that, because once I do, I'm going to share it with everyone on here because honestly, it's going to save you some time, money, and everything. But I need to do testing. I have to make sure it's not going to, any negative effects over time. And that's one of the things where I want to be careful is with all the different things I'm going to move forward with here that is new, I haven't seen before. I want it before I get on here, go, look, I got a new process, blah, blah, blah. I want to make sure it's a process that's worth sharing because I don't want someone to waste materials because just like Tim was saying, some of the stuff, my profit margin is very small. And if shipping is a little bit more than I calculated, it even gets a little smaller because a lot of the ones in Jersey, if they're traditional customers I had before, I don't charge shipping because I feel that they have been going to me for long enough.
Josh, you can charge shipping, just charge it in your price, right? So in my eBay store for the other business, just about 90% of all the items I list always say free shipping, but I'm accounting for shipping in my price.
Yes, and you're not wrong, but these are clients that have ordered this stuff from me before, so they know the price. Okay. It's not new, and it's only for the first couple orders. And I explained this. I'm like, look, because I moved, because I am no longer there, and I appreciate your business. I'm not going to charge shipping this time. I make it a statement to make sure that it's not going to continue. I got to give them that adjustment period. Because I want to make sure they're getting the product they want. I want to make sure they're realizing they can still get that and continue coming to me. Because some of these people I've been working with for, I would say, a couple of years, maybe a little bit longer. So I'm not losing that much, but I definitely don't have the profit margin that I had when I was in Jersey, because now I'm using a little bit for shipping. And I've kind of learned here I have to be careful where I go, because there are definitely people gouging when it comes to shipping here. So it's one of those things you just got to be careful with. It's business, right? Everything is business, especially during the holidays. And this is kind of where I get back into everything, is during the holidays. So, that being said, I have some pretty cool things coming up. I'm hoping that this new process I keep referring to is going to work out. Once I perfect it, I would sure be sharing, because I want everyone else there to be utilizing it, because it's going to cut costs and different things for people. It's not really innovative. It's just something I stumbled upon. But the big thing for this year for me is I haven't done a lot of inlays. I've done a couple here and there. I have definitely not done to the extent of Tim, and I know Ed, you've done some, and Ben, I think you've done a couple too, if I'm here and there.
A couple here and there.
But I definitely want to start getting into that, because it's almost like painting a wood, and I kind of like that, and I like the look of that. So it's just something I got to get into. I know I could do it with the laser. I know I could do it with the CNC, and I want to get good with both, because I think once I get good with both, I can kind of use both to get to the desired effect. And that brings me to the CNC. So I pretty much have a new CNC. It's the same system, but now I'm learning Vectric and a new sender, and it's not anything close to what I was utilizing. So I know some people out there are like, well, time.
Welcome aboard.
So
by the way, there's an option on Vectric for inlays where, and I haven't used it yet, but supposedly it matches your the male and female identically. Ben, you've used it, I guess.
I've used it. It works awesome.
I've heard nothing but good things, and I'm excited about using Vectric. So I was going to use Carveco, and then I got a good deal with Vectric, and I asked Daniel from PWN CNC. We work with him; he's a sponsor. I'm like, look, what would benefit you the most? If I get Carveco, would that benefit any kind of help or anything like that? And he goes, I already got people there. I'd rather you have Vectric. It's going to do more what you want it to do. That Carveco can't. He was basically saying, like, look, we got people that can help you get spun up real quick. Get Vectric. So with that being said, I got Vectric. I haven't done my research as much as I want to yet. I got to get that spun up during the holidays with those inclusions of the shadow boxes. I need to have that CNC up and running. So I saved all my files from Easel. I got those SVGs. I'm hoping that those will translate just fine. And if they
shouldn't be a problem.
If they maintain the size, that's my worry, is that the size of the Vectric will be the size that I need or have to adjust. Because I had everything measured out, and when I saved the SVG from Easel, I don't know if it shifted anything. So I got to do some test carving. I got to go down that rabbit hole of starting from the beginning, carve my name, carve this, carve a 3D carve. And once I learn how that interacts, and that's the big thing, interaction, right? So I don't know how to zero my machine right now. Simple stuff that I've been doing for the last couple of years. It's new programming. I don't know how it's going to interact. I don't know how, this is going to do. I literally started up the other day and I just moved it around. I homed it and make sure the homing function was going to work the same. That's part of the process.
Do you have the...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you have the Masso thing on your machine?
I do not.
Okay.
So I'm using the controller from Inventables, X-Carve, and I don't think that would support it. I'm using between CNCJ and another sender. I forget what it's called, URL CNC or something like that. Kind of trying to learn both to see which one I like better, which one has the best features. But Patrick, I know I can make a design and I know I can set it and get the file ready. It's the whole setting up the carve and everything on the other side. I'm just trying to learn. And honestly, some YouTube videos and some mistakes, probably a broken bit. I'll get it going, running with it.
But, I mean, a future ornament.
There we go. And if you don't know what we mean, listen to the last episode.
Money.
Yeah.
Innovation. There you go.
Innovations.
But don't forget Ed's cut.
There we go. He's already, every time we
Little
say
royalty.
Mark, he takes a tick mark. Yep, that's 10 cents. That's 10 cents.
That's right.
But that's the thing too. I mean, like, we're all trying to do this because we love this, right? But we're also trying to do it in such a way we can make a couple bucks. So some of them for a living, some of us for buying new machines. We're always trying to get better, and we're trying to get better for a multitude of reasons. Inlaying this year is something I think if I want to incorporate inlaying acrylic. I want to incorporate inlaying wood. I want to incorporate different materials, because with the plaques and stuff I do, it's great to be able to stack things on top of each other, give it a 3D look. But I want to be able to have options, because for me, I've pretty much, I think I told every single one of you guys and on this podcast before the same thing. I want someone to walk up to me and go, "Hey, I have this envisioned. This is how I want it." And I can be like, "Yes, no problem." And go in the shop and knock that out. So more capability, more innovation that we see. I say innovation a lot because that's the word of this episode. Yeah, that's where I'm heading toward in 2024. I have everything I need. There's a couple things I would love to have, but don't need for the stuff I'm doing. And that's where I'm going to be heading. So,
Josh, I've thought about that too, inlaying with other materials, right? Mm-hmm. And you bring up acrylic. But then what crossed my mind is you've got the wood's got to be completely finished, sanded. Everything's got to be done, right? Because when your inlay goes in, if you're using something other than wood, right? If it's acrylic or whatever else, then can't sand that anymore, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And the other thing too is wood moves, acrylic doesn't.
Nope. So I mean, like, you got to give some space there. There's some thought already. You guys are coming up with ideas of what challenges are ahead, right? But I think it's worth that. I think it's worth going down that rabbit hole to check that out, because
Absolutely.
I see what Tim did with the Sawdust Nation cutting board that he made. I've seen Ed, you do some stuff with inlays, and Ben he does with 3D carving. If I can take 3D carving, inlays, and all this stuff and put it together, I want to do something no one's really done before. And like, that's kind of where I'm heading with this, is like, we see people come up with ideas, or they come up with ideas that have already been had and they change them. I really want to come up with a product that no one's really seen. And I think that's what we all strive for, right? But I want to take that step forward to kind of elevate my business and go down that road. And just myself, because much like Tim and you guys here, I like new products. I like doing new stuff and trying different things. Not so much learning my CNC again. That's kind of irritating, but I'm sure it'll be fun. Well, I mean, you can imagine, like, it's like riding a bike, right? They've been riding for years. You put new wheels on it, and it's like, oh, they don't ride the same. Now I have to learn the balance and everything else. So,
but you can still ride the bike.
Exactly.
Perspective, buddy. Perspective.
Yeah, I know. This is my little complaint right now in the shop. Excuse me. I use the laser a lot, which saves me from using the CNC at the moment. But with these two shadow boxes, that's going to be a necessity here. It's very, very soon. So it's one of those things. I got to take a Saturday or whatever non-family day I get, go out there, mess with it for 8 hours, learn everything I can. Put Ben's old bit in there to make sure if I mess something up.
First, take it out of the ornament. Second, put it in the machine.
And then lastly, with everything being said and done, I do want to start using my lathe a little bit more. I got it. I want to utilize it more. I have everything to sharpen my tools. Actually, the sharpening system's still in the box.
Go get around to it.
It's one of those things where. Go ahead.
What did you get?
It's a Wolverine sharpening system that's going on
okay.
Rikon slow grinding wheel.
Yeah.
But
I got you.
Yeah, so I got to set that up and get that fine tuned. But I wanted to start making rings, like wedding rings. I don't see a lot of people doing them, and I want to start incorporating that because, like, they're great gifts. They're great different things for weddings and stuff like that, anniversaries, and it's something different. Again, like no against nothing with you, Ben, or anyone that turns pens. I just don't find that fascinating. I don't have a drive to go do that.
Well, you saw my pen shop. When was the last time I was in there? It was covered in dust.
It was because you moved on to other stuff like 3D carving. But people out there make great pens. Like, honestly, like
they do.
The experience I had with you, Ben, and then other people that make them, like, I have great respect for that. I think for me, I've always wanted to make a wooden ring for myself. And then I thought about it, like, well, there's other materials you can use to make rings and use on the lathe and incorporate and kind of, I think it would be cool to make someone's wedding ring. Could you imagine making something that's going to be with someone for like the entire marriage, or at least to a certain anniversary until they get new ones or what have you? I think that'd be a lasting legacy I kind of want to tap into.
That'd be cool.
So, I mean, that's kind of like a snapshot of what I want to get into this year. Kind of went a little bit longer than I wanted to on that, but it's exciting stuff for me. I'm pretty stoked about where I'm taking everything, and hopefully I can knock it all out in 1 year. We'll see.
I have an idea for you, Josh. You make the ring. If I can get the puzzle box working, and then we can put that in there. And then, you can give it to your fiance. Before you ask the question, I guess, so if you can open the box,
you can marry me. Nice.
Yeah. And maybe the box has like a key that we use one of the broken bits to unlock.
Right?
Hey, there we go.
There you go. There you go.
So, it all comes back.
Honestly, Ben, your idea of the puzzle box is genius. People love puzzles. And once you perfect that particular thing, you could almost do like an escape room puzzle type. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but like, people will pay. Like, there's a puzzle book online, and it's like, I want to say it's like $500 for this thing, and it's for one puzzle book, and it has like 5-6 pages, and you have to solve the puzzle to get to the next page, whatever. And then at the end, I think there's like I don't know, something at the end. But like, if that's the kind of stuff that'd be awesome to make. Imagine making like a box, like, I don't know, a 12 by 12 box. And like, you solve the first puzzle, or you might get the bit key from one chamber, and the first, box opens up and you got the second box. And then you keep going, and then like a gift card for like 20 cents is in the center or something crazy. Like, I think that'd be pretty cool.
That would be awesome.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, you know that that Axiom makes a fourth axis, right? So, getting back into pen turning, turn one.
I actually have it.
3D. Who has it? You have it?
I have it already.
You do? And have you turned a 3D pen?
No. I tried using it a couple of times, and the thing that I realized very, very quickly is that a fourth axis and a lathe are two separate, completely different machines. So what we find out, if people don't realize this, a lathe, turns at 120 RPMs up to 500, 600 to 1,000 RPMs. Your fourth axis is turning at 2 RPMs. It's
because it's meant to like hold it, turn it, turn it back.
Mhm.
Yeah,
turn it
it's a
back.
very
Yeah.
very slow. It's a very slow process. When I first got the fourth axis, my envision was to make walking canes, and
cool.
I thought that would be a really cool thing to do with the 3D carvings on the cane itself. You see those all the time, but actually making one doing it yourself, I thought it would be really cool. It turns out by talking with several people that have actually done it and going through the process, you're looking at about a 40 to 80 hour carve time.
Oh wow!
And then if you add your step overs, we're going to double that, right?
Yeah, almost
160
so,
hours.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was just not possible. So I ended up selling my fourth axis to a very good
Oh my
friend of
God! I
mine.
was about to say, if you want to sell it, I'll buy it.
I
Because
I
it'll
know a
work on my
guy.
machine. It'll
Yeah,
actually work
no,
on my I2R.
I got you. I actually sold it to a good friend of mine, and with the stipulation that if I ever want to come borrow it, I can come get it and borrow it
Nice.
for time and take it back.
That's a good sale.
But yeah, no, it's a great deal. Knapp bought his, and it's a lot nicer than it's a different machine. It's designed just for that. So
it's a standalone, right?
Yes, it's a standalone. It's got a lot more capability than the fourth axis that Axiom has. The fourth axis that Axiom has will work. It is great, but it's just going to take you time. It is not an industrial. If you're looking for industrial type deal, it's just not going to do it. I'll just be honest with you. I've seen it in action. It just doesn't do it. It's a nice deal. It will work. It's just not.
It's not fast.
It's not a fast deal at all. It really isn't. If you're gonna do that, go do what Knapp did and get you a standalone.
Got it.
That's just my suggestion. Not knocking Axiom. I love Axiom. I promote their products. I love them. I know all the guys there, and I really enjoy my machine. Josh was here. He got to see it in working and see it. Everything. It's solid. It's rigid. It's got the stand. I don't think their stands and their it's second to none. It's a good quality machine.
When did you get yours?
I'm sorry.
When did you buy yours?
Oh, it was right before the pandemic or the COVID. So it was 18, I guess. Is that would be about right? That's when I started Beach Time Woodworks. Right at the beginning of COVID, I did 2 market shows, and then COVID hit. And if you're starting a business doing markets, that wasn't the best time to start a business. And so,
you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
no one saw that coming.
No one saw it coming, and that's kind of was my own that was the undoing of my beginning. And then I just went straight to custom stuff and word of mouth. I don't do any advertisement. I do a few posts here and there on Instagram, but all of my business is all repeat and just talking to people on the street and just showing them my stuff. And then they do it. The one thing that I do have that sells tremendously, and that is baby plaques. I do these little baby plaques. And that started from the church. Everybody that has a baby at our church, I make them a baby plaque, give it to them.
Nice.
And then the grandparents want one, and then so I make a couple sales.
That's how
there.
it goes.
Yeah. But the baby plaque is my bread and butter, so to speak.
Cool.
I don't know what I would do with a fourth axis machine like Knapp got. I know there's definitely things that I could think of I like to prank people with. But I honestly don't know how to incorporate that into a business. Like for the stuff I do. I'm sure
the walking canes I thought was a great idea, but I just it not for the fourth axis. If you do the standalone, I think it would work.
Yeah.
I was thinking of it for turning some legs for furniture.
That would work.
That's kind of where my head goes to. Yeah,
3D legs are like those legs you see with like the ornate like rope detail around it.
Yeah,
Like
and I got turned on to it by Nick Birchlold, right? But he's got a standalone fourth axis. But when I bought my I2R and I saw that they offered one, I should have gotten it when I bought the machine because it was $1,000.
Yeah,
2 years ago. It's $1,200 now.
Yeah,
it's $1,200 now. But the exact same one. It's the Axiom sells the exact same one. The only difference is the color, and theirs is $1,100.
No,
so I could buy Axioms, but now you got me thinking about. I wasn't looking for industrial type output. I was thinking more of furniture legs. So that Axiom or the I2R one may work for me, but.
I would find somebody that actually has one that has done a furniture leg with that, and ask them the time frame and what it takes. Do a little more research on that before you make the purchase, or help to make your decision on which way to go.
Right. Got it. Yeah. What's your friend using it for?
Mine? He just bought it because he wanted it, and he didn't want to pay full price at Axiom, and he knew I had one, and I wasn't using it, so he offered me something, and I said, sure, why not? That's what friends are for, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Swap equipment.
We enable each other.
Exactly.
Talking about enabling each other.
All right, I got to go now.
So, we're getting close to the ending of the episode, but before we go, we're going to dive down into my favorite question. New year, new tool. Which new tool are you looking for in 2024?
I just bought it. I bought the Bosch.
Nope, new year.
Doesn't count.
Well,
it probably won't get here till after the new year. It's been delayed 4 times. I mean, come on.
It's still on the boat.
You bought it in 2023.
I did buy it in 2023. Let's see. A new tool. Do I get to still stay married, or is it cause a divorce?
It could be a wish tool, a tool you wish you get.
Listen, if you get divorced, then you can get whatever you want.
Well, that's a good question. Like a dream tool for 2024 and realistic tool for 2024.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Wow. I don't know. I don't know what I'm all going to need for these new boxes. So that, I guess, I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to need for the new boxes before I can determine what kind of new tool I'm going to want or need. I just don't know.
Of tools, man. I think
I've got a ton of tools in my garage. I mean, my garage looks like Ed's shop. I mean, it's full of stuff. Plus, I have all the tools from my father-in-law, and he had 50 years worth of tools. I mean, the garage is. I'd have to build another garage.
Interesting. Do you really
so that's
need a
the
backyard?
dream tool. What's the realistic tool?
Yeah, that's it. I could buy another woodshed to put in the backyard, so I can have 2 woodsheds in the backyard plus the 2-car garage.
Now we're cooking.
Now there we go. There's your wish list, and realistically, I'll probably get the Matchbox car.
Solid.
I've got everything right now, guys. So I just, the only thing that I'm going to want is probably what I don't have when I'm looking to make these puzzle boxes. That's yet to be determined.
More bits.
Yeah, more. Well, yeah, I need more bits. That's for sure. All of mine are dull. I need to send them to Josh. He can put them on his Wolverine sharpening jig.
There you go. What about you, Ed?
So, realistic and dream. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So, realistic, because like Ben, it's already on order. When I built that TV stand, I realized, and I've tried very hard to buy once, cry once. I hate buying something and then needing to upgrade later. I've done it, and then you're going to sell the tool. You're not going to get your money back, obviously, and you're spending more. So I'm trying to buy once, cry once. I didn't do that with my jointer, right? I bought a 6-inch jointer. I went back and forth. Do I do a 6? Do I do an 8? Do I do a 6? You know what? What I'm doing right now, I think the 6 is enough. I buy the 6. As soon as I get a furniture piece, I'm like, I can't. I actually had to size down the piece just to be able to joint 6-inch boards times 3, right? Because it was an 18-inch step. So I am selling my Powermatic 6-inch jointer, and I've ordered a Hammer A3 41. So that's actually already in Delaware. They're waiting for me to go down and pick it up. I'm going to go pick it up in at the end of January. So that's a realistic machine.
I'm
that's
sorry.
Already
according to Josh's rules. You bought it this year, so
okay.
Sorry.
It was only a deposit.
Stickler, no.
That
this damn speaker. I didn't hear that, and this whole story for nothing. Realistic. Well, I'll tell you what. Realistic. I picked up a my first planer. My first hand plane this year, and I was able to score one during Veritas's second-hand sale, or their factory seconds, and I want a Lee Nielsen. So as a realistic purchase for next year, I think I'm going to add a Lee Nielsen 4.5, and then the dream tool will be that laser. That'll be the dream tool.
Love it.
Good choice.
How about you, Tim?
I think my realistic is probably going to be the Bamboo X1, because I can see a lot of realistic expectations coming out of that. Like, in other words, like, I'm not one of the people that says I'm going to buy a 3D printer and then not know what to print. I know how to use a 3D printer. Like I said, between my current job and my last job, I've been using these things since the past 13 years. Nice. So, like, I mean, I know my way around printing. I know what they're for and how to use them. So, like, and even like considering the clock, right? Like, I thought of like 5 different applications, like how I could use 3D printed something or others just by improving that clock. So beyond that, I can really see how to take full advantage, like to really, really take full advantage of a 3D printer in that sense. Plus, I think, I don't remember which one of you said it too, but I can also offer printing services for anyone else too.
Right.
But that is going to be like a money generating tool to help me finance the dream tool, which is my full own seat of SolidWorks, and that is a pricey son of a gun. The Band-Aid price on that is pretty harsh, but the year-to-year price on it is actually really manageable. And for what you can do with SolidWorks, to me personally, since I've been using it since 2010, it's worth it.
Oh wow!
Like, I can design anything in SolidWorks, and that's why I want to keep chasing that. But in the meantime, a couple weeks ago, I got the hobby version of Fusion 360, and I've been kind of teaching myself how to use that in the meantime. So it kind of tied me over. Now, I still have SolidWorks at work, and I can kind of use it here by using like a remote, but it's just clanky and awkward, and I don't want to do it anymore. I want my own seat. But like I said, that Band-Aid price, that's divorce waiting to happen. So
how much is it?
Let's just stick. So for the base, how SolidWorks does is like you buy the base license, and then you buy what's called like a year of maintenance, which basically is you can upgrade it. So like the base price of SolidWorks is like 40, I think it's at 4,600, and then the maintenance is and the maintenance is like $1,200. So like I said, the
6,000.
divorce price is like, the divorce price is pretty steep, but like I said, the year to year is $1,200. But like I said, it's yours. You get all the perks, all the benefits.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's the tool that I'm used to using, and it's hard for me to let that go, especially when I have become so dependent on it.
Well, it
like
makes
when
sense.
I made that table, if you dig through my posts on Instagram, I made that table. It's got like a lot of weird wonky angles. I could not have done that without SolidWorks. In high school and like some semesters of college, they teach us how to do like the draft table drafting and stuff like that. I could figure it out, but it would take a very long time. With SolidWorks, I can like spit everything out. I know exactly what angle to cut this leg, what compound angle to cut at this face and stuff like that. SolidWorks is one of the coolest tools I have ever had the privilege of learning. Now, does Fusion have that same capability based on what I've seen so far? Not quite, but I want to give it a fair shot before I can legitimately say Fusion cannot do what SolidWorks does. I want to really sink my teeth into Fusion, and I think by learning Fusion, I can help other people get used to CAD as well too. Yep, looking at you, Josh.
I've been trying to learn that program, and it's one of those things I just got to sit down and do. But like, I get in there and I get frustrated. It's just to be honest with you, like I get so far and then I'll forget like the first 3 things I learned, and I have to go over and learn those again, and I just don't use it often enough. But there are people that pick it up
and
fast.
But that's just it. You have to have a mindset for it, and you really have to stick at it.
Yeah,
nonstop.
So much to learn, so little time.
Exactly.
But dream tools here. Well, there's a couple different things I would like to get. They're pricey though, and that's one of the reasons I haven't got them. So my dream tool would be either a new CNC or a nice full-size lathe. Just because I don't mind the setup I have in my CNC. It works. I have no complaints. Obviously I'm doing a little bit different stuff here and there. It helps me help other people kind of in my predicament when it comes to like getting a, say X-Carve or something like that, and then modding it. But it sure would be nice to have one of those 4x4s with all the bells and whistles and go up there and push power and ask you what you want to do today. Yeah, that would be nice. But don't need it. So it's just kind of hard to purchase something I don't need. I always try to find a reason for when I get in the shop. And again, I kind of made 2 dream with the lathe thing. I'm getting into it. Excuse me. I'm getting into it, and I really enjoy doing it, but it's one of those things where I do wish I kind of bought once, cried once, because like there's so many different accessories and different ways I have to kind of do things, and it'd be nice to have a standalone system which comes with a lot of the stuff you need. Just you have to buy different things here and there, obviously, but buying for a mini lathe is a little harder. It feels full size, there's a lot more options. And then a new sander, smaller sander, essentially for smaller places, something more feasible. The 6-inch sander is
like
great. Yeah, either like the little triangle or the like little 5x5 or a little 3x5. There's a couple different versions out there, but I keep running into like I can get really good flat surfaces with my Merca. I got nothing for the smaller spaces, so I hand sand. So that's a kind of something I like to. I've been wanting one for a while. I haven't really been doing any shopping for it, but with the move and everything, we're just trying to get settled back in before I start buying new stuff. But those are kind of my wish list right there.
I'm going to make a recommendation on that sander, and it's not going to be Merca. RO 90 by Festool, right? Because you'll get the small 3-inch sanding diameter wheel, but you'll also have the delta attachment, which will get you into those tight corners. And that package is less expensive than the 3-inch Merca itself. And you're only getting the round disc there, right? With the Festool, you've got two in one.
The Delta standard, that's that little triangle thingy.
Yeah. So on the RO90, the Rotex 90, you've got a 90 millimeter wheel, right? So it's about 3 inches, 3¼ inches, whatever. But it also has the Delta attachment.
Cool.
If I get it now, it arrives before Christmas.
There you go.
It doesn't count. Doesn't count.
And by the way, oak tree. Is it oak tree? Oak something supply. I'll get you the right name, but you can, if you get it through them, no sales tax. If they're shipping, nice. I think I want to say they're in Indiana. So no sales tax, and it's always free shipping.
Oak what?
Nice.
Oak Tree Supply, I believe that's what it is. Oak Tree Supply.
Okay.
Oh, I got to check that out. Again, most of the stuff for me is going to be in the future thing. I got to get the business going here. We got to still pay for some things from the move, but long story short, I'll get there. I'm pretty good with what I got. These are all niceties at this point. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very fortunate.
I feel very blessed for what I do have and very thankful. And I think we all should be
yes.
for what we've got. We always have the wish list, the dream list, things that we want to do. But to Josh, to your point, we're very fortunate to have what we do have. Absolutely. And a lot of makers out there don't have that. They have the Sears Craftsman, they have the Harbor Freight tools and different things. And I'm not knocking any of those because I still have some of those, and I still use them. So, as you get more and more into things, you want to get bigger and better stuff. But everybody's got to start somewhere. And so,
and there's always those makers out there that can do amazing things with a heck of a lot less. So
absolutely.
Appreciate what you got.
Absolutely.
I keep telling my wife, like, I don't need a new garage yet because I haven't outgrown my current space. I haven't hit that limit yet. You know what I mean?
I think the other thing we ought to be thankful for is all our listeners out there, because without them, we wouldn't be able to keep doing this. And so I'm thankful for the community that's out there. I've met several friends through this podcast, and they come over. Some of them are here locally that I can talk with and visit with and collaborate with, and some of them are out and about. But we still talk, and so I'm very thankful for the community.
Yeah,
100%. We look out for each other too.
Amen.
I think.
Well, I mean, nothing to follow with that. Let's go ahead and say our last words and wrap this episode up, just like the year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
There we go.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
Stay safe. Keep the sawdust flowing. And don't forget to check in on each other.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everyone. Let's make 2024 our best year yet. And Josh, I've got a little supply here. When you're ready to start designing. Okay? Actually, there's one more. Every one of these has a red mark for a reason. All right, so I can't reuse them.
Red mark means ornament.
I need to start marking mine red. That's a great idea. I like that idea.
You do.
I just throw them in the drawer and pick each one of them up, going, okay,
No.
The next one.
You don't Ben. You don't pick them up. Josh picks them up, puts them in his pocket.
There you go.
Oh no! I only took one. Okay.
That we know of.
Of.
He would know, believe me.
Oh goodness gracious, that's great.
Well, I want to thank you guys. Sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I want to thank you guys for joining me for these 2 episodes. It was a great time. a lot of laughs, a lot of great ideas. Hopefully someone out there picked up as much as I did, because I have a laundry list of things I'm going to try for this next year. I do think, Ben, you nailed it. Thank everyone out there for listening. Honestly, never would have thought this would have been as where it is without the community, and especially a couple years ago when we started this, 3 years ago now? Never imagined we have this many great people and the community we built. Some of the community was already there. We just tie them together a little bit more. And with that, spend some time with your family. Have a happy new year. And we'll see you January 2nd for our first episode in the new year at a giveaway to fall. So with that, go make some sawdust. Sawdust Nation podcast out for the last time in 2023.